just like Cardi B said, I'm sorry, she hit the nail on the coffin. He made it easy so y'all motherfuckers can go to the doctor get you checked out. I had to
censor that a little bit.
Yeah, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So yeah, civic engagement. It doesn't just stop with voting. It's being active through the whole process, even after voting. Holding politicians, not just from your party, from the other party. Holding these people accountable. Holding, people that we vote in office accountable for issues and situations. And I'll say this: it's better to vote locally than it is to vote nationally. Don't get me wrong, the presidential election is big. It takes up a lot of our time. I get it. But if you really want to see change, if you really want to see things better for you, your kids, in the future, vote locally. Vote for your DA, because your DA is the one that has the most power to hold these corrupt cops accountable for their actions.
Right.
DA can hold cops accountable. Make sure you know who your local DA is for your district. Vote for your interests. Just don't vote for your party. Don't vote along party lines. If you're a Democrat and there's an issue that you don't feel right, don't tell your friends and family about it. Get them aware of the situation. Call. There's ways to get in contact with your local senators. Call them. Let them. Hold them accountable. That's the only way we're going to get change. We can fight. We can protest all day. We can be activists. We can be active. You know what I'm saying? You can get people triggered. Get out there. Let's do it. But it doesn't just stop at the voting booth. So, with all that said, we're now going to get into the meat, the heart of today, and that is the Frosty movement, aka Miss A. Michelle. Did I say that correctly?
Allentza, yeah.
Allentza.
People mostly call me Allie though.
Allie.
Just because they struggle to say Allentza.
Oh man, I was struggling. I was having people at work like, yo, how did y'all say this lady's name? I didn't have Cape Verdeans come out. I didn't have Dominican. Man, I went down the whole tree like, yo, how do y'all pronounce it? And they said it. It just... Anyway, so again, the topic of the day is civic engagement. And right now we have a local civic engagement superhero, Wonder Woman. Like she's been. I went down the list of all the things that she's done. I was just like, God damn! Can I just get like half of that? Just let me get a little piece of that knowledge. And she has a long list of accomplishments. But for me, I try to find things that are different. And so this one stood out to me. Okay, this one stood out to me. 5. 1. 5. I can't do 5. Okay. God damn it, she knows 5 languages. 5. Okay. She knows French. Bonjour, comment allez-vous, mademoiselle? Okay, she knows French. She knows Haitian. Ça passe. Ma boule. That's all I know. Because one of my boys is Haitian. That's all I know.
Yeah, that's the common.
You know what I'm saying? Spanish. Hola. ¿Cómo está? Also, French. Did I say French? Did I say that?
French, yeah.
French, Spanish, and again, I said it earlier, anime. She knows Japanese. Konnichiwa. Is that Japanese?
Yes.
Yeah! Konnichiwa!
Standard for you.
Standard. Beast. She knows 5 languages. She's a civic engagement master. She knows it all. So tell us a little bit about what you do. We know you're a business owner, so talk a little bit about what you do and how you start your business.
Okay. I'll try to be real quick. So
yeah, let us know.
My practice is called Powerful Pathways, and we're a nonprofit enterprise, meaning we're a nonprofit, but we operate like a business. So we have a very business model, and we do that because a lot of the work that we do is focused on community development, and because I grew up in an underserved neighborhood, a lot of that inspired me to go into public policy, urban planning, and I'm also a practicing artist, so we also try to incorporate creative arts into the community projects that we do. So that's kind of really where we start, and we mostly work with social enterprises, so businesses that have some kind of component where they're giving back, like they're interested in social impact. We also work with nonprofit organizations and with government agencies, and we do everything from helping them with projects so that they're able to increase their civic engagement outcomes. We know a lot of local governments struggle with community engagement, so we offer to come in and help them think about more creative ways to get the word out in the community. And then we also do a lot of like community art projects, organizational development. We do a lot of trainings and workshops on diversity and inclusion, and a lot of it just really is all because we have a social justice vision. Like, we want to see our communities more improved, and we particularly like to focus on underserved neighborhoods.
That's awesome. Hey, social justice, Wolfpack, all of that, I'm for it. So what inspired you to do this? Because most people, they want a sexy job. Lawyers somewhat, just because they make a lot of money. Of course, movie stars, rappers, actors, those are sexy jobs. In the spotlight, making a lot of money on the beach. But I mean, not saying that what you're doing is not, but I'm saying it's not typical. So what made you, or what experiences did you have that said, you know what, despite being able to be in the spotlight and make bukus of money, I want to do this. So what was it that made you say, you know what, this is what I want to do, and like, how did you get to that?
Well, it's funny you should say that, because I grew up in an immigrant household, in a Haitian family, and basically, when you grow up in an immigrant household, there's like 3 major careers that you often hear that your parents want you to be. Either a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer. Because you're going to make a lot of money, you're going to take care of your family, and and since it's a very multi-generational family upbringing thing, you have to make enough money to like look after everybody. So for years growing up, when people would ask me, what are you going to do? I'm like, I'm going to be a doctor and a lawyer and an engineer. I'm going to do all 3. Woo! But I grew up in Boston, and I grew up in a time where my neighborhood was really struggling, and I got to see a lot of, I ended up seeing a lot of things that were really harmful to my community. We struggle with a lot of community violence, and I didn't really understand why, or where all that stuff was happening, why all those events were happening, especially because I knew my neighbors, and as I mentioned before, we had a tight-knit community on my block, and so I'm like, I know that these are problems that are coming from somewhere, but where are they coming from? So as I got older, I started to do more research on like issues affecting like social inequity, social problems, and I realized that a lot of what happened in our communities has to do with the history of segregation and disinvestment. Like, specifically, when people of color started moving into the neighborhood, a lot of the wealth and resources were taken out. And if you take a lot of people and you take away their resources, put a cap on it, then it's going to happen. People are going to end up fighting. You're going to have a lot of bad outcomes, like, violence and drugs and all those things. So that's why we were dealing with a lot of situations that we were dealing with. And so when I got into high school, I was doing a lot of volunteering, like I was doing, community service and things like that. And that made me a little bit more interested in, like, how do I get more involved in my community? So I started getting connected to local groups, started becoming more involved in activism.
Nice.
Participated in a lot of after-school programs where, we learned a lot about like systems of injustice, systems of oppression, learned what the isms are, racism, sexism, classism, and it just kind of opened my eyes to like, wow, this is what the world is really like. And And so I was doing an internship at Boston Medical Center where I just had this moment where I just realized, I was like, you know what? I don't really want to be doing this. I actually think I want to do something that allows me to do more community work. And so I started working in schools at first, and in the nonprofit sector, and I started working for local organizations like the Other Street Neighborhood Initiative, where we learned a lot about like community empowerment through land trusts, and I learned a lot more about how this particular organization was able to win control over the land in the Dudley Triangle area. So all the affordable homes that they operate stay affordable in the community. And so I'm like, wow, so it's actually really possible to find ways to, it takes a long time, it takes a long fight, but that's why you got to build collective power behind it. And I just got more involved in things like that. And then I went back to school, studied urban planning and public policy, worked in government, worked in a variety of different roles, and most recently have been doing a lot of work in Roxbury, Dorchester, Mattapan, and Hyde Park. Those are particular neighborhoods that are being impacted by a lot of the rapid gentrification and the displacement, and more people who look like us are being pushed out of the neighborhoods that we held down for years when there was nothing. We were there and we were sustaining ourselves even with the little that we had. And so I just got angry. I was like, I don't want to see our communities get taken from us. So got really into that work, and that's really what led me to start my consulting business. And I've had different roles and different things, been in different capacities since then, but particularly working on stuff around like transit access. We got the Fairmount line, which a lot of people don't know was a transit line that was started by community activism.
Wow.
It was actually a group of residents that sued the state and said, we got to take a bus and some change to get to and from downtown Boston. It takes us over an hour and a half. Because remember, when our neighborhoods, when they first took away rapid transit, they only left us with a bus system.
Yeah.
And that was intentional. Like, all of that was by design. So the group of residents sued the state, and they won. They won a lawsuit against the Massachusetts Commonwealth. And the order was that new stations had to be built in Mattapan, Dorchester, and Roxbury so that residents would have easy access to get to and from downtown. But it's not just about getting to and from downtown, it's also about increasing more access and opportunities in the neighborhoods too. So there's a lot of groups that are working on this right now, but whenever you have rapid transit, that means developers are going to start looking at neighborhoods. Suddenly the ghetto just starts getting more sexy, and they start taking up property and buying up land, and then rental rates go up and housing prices go up, and so it's going to trigger gentrification. So I work with coalitions that are working really hard to, as much as possible, to combat all of the gentrification and displacement that are happening. And it's a slow process, but we definitely need more people involved to be more civically engaged in that work and to know the truth, because a lot of people don't know the history behind the Fairmount line. And we're trying to get it rebranded as the Fairmount Indigo line, because we're saying that's our line. That line exists because we created it. It wouldn't exist if people didn't push for it. So it's good for people to know that history.
Yeah, and like you said, that's all because of civic or civil engagement. You had a group of people, there was an issue, collective issue. I guarantee you they all came from different walks of life, different backgrounds. They came together. White, black, Asian, Puerto Rican, Dominican, whatever, they came together is the point. People with different backgrounds, they may look alike, but they coming from different places. They got different things going on in their life. So you had different people coming from different places, came together to make something happen, and they won. Civil engagement, that's what we need more of. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, Chinese, African. If there's a problem in your community, we are all human. We're all the same. I bleed, she bleeds. My blood's red, her blood's red, unless you're an alien. You an alien?
I guess not.
She's not an alien. I'm not an alien either. I'm talking to you, babe. You think I'm not an alien. Anyway, we're all the same here, all right? We bleed the same. We get hungry the same. Our stomach does that the same. Again, unless you're an alien, then you don't have that problem. I'm talking to you. Anyway, But we're all the same. They came together for a common cause and they won. We need more of that. And so, and you help put that I guess project together to get the Fairmont line.
Not really. It happened. So the lawsuit happened back in the '90s. So it actually happened before I got involved.
Okay. Wow. It's nice.
But that goes to show you how long this fight has been going on, right?
Wow.
Because it was in 2002 when the state officially lost the case after they tried to appeal, and so they were supposed to have completed building all these stations in the neighborhoods by now. We're still waiting on the Mattapan station to be complete. That just tells you how long the state government has been moving slowly, and the MBTA has been moving just slowly to try to make to fulfill this commitment that the community asked for. And other stations on other commuter-owned lines have been finished long before then. They got the Greenbush line, which nobody even wanted, which the T had went and built. And so we were here asking yo, what's going on? We still haven't gotten our station.
Isn't that the funny shaped one?
Greenbush?
Yeah.
I don't remember how it's shaped, but
I know there was a funny shaped one.
I do know that it's not even doing well, and the community over there, it's like a kind of semi-South Shore. The community over there didn't even want that line, and yet now they're stuck with it, and yet the T is trying to work slow and actually in some ways work against the community with the Fairmont line.
And I hate that, and I don't. I am, and so it wasn't a resolution. It was more of a plan, but my plan was to combat racism, hatred, bigotry with facts. And I will be the first to say this. I used to combat those issues with emotion, with feeling, and that's fine to a certain point. Because then you start, I think, and people in the comments, YouTube, Facebook, let me know if you think I'm wrong. I want to hear it. This is part of the engagement. Let me know. But I feel to a certain point it doesn't help. It actually feeds into their narrative.
Right.
If to combat racism, hatred, bigotry, sexism, classism, to combat those evils, I think you have to combat it with truths, facts.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, let that feeling, that emotion propel you to look for those facts, to look for that proof, because that's how you're gonna stop bigotry. That's how you're gonna stop inequality. You know what I'm saying? Taking real life examples and throwing it back in their face, and I mean that.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Taking that's how you want to play? Okay, he did that. Let me show you. Boom.
Right.
This is why you don't need to be doing that. You don't think that's racist? You did exactly what he did.
Yep.
Combating that with real life facts, figures, information, scenarios I think will help that. And so by having these facts and issues, by having civil engagement, because if you don't know it, the next person might. And the only way you're gonna know that is if you engage with them. The only way that those people could have came together to fight that case, to win that, they had to engage one another. If they were just on for self, yeah, they could have sent in a letter. Yeah, they could have wrote in a letter, email, showed up to a town hall. But that's only one person. And I'm not saying nothing can get done with just one person, but it's going to take more than one person. That one person is to get the ball rolling. It's that second person that really makes a difference.
Right.
Because they seen that first person take that stand. So now it's like, oh, snap. They talking some truth. I agree with what they're saying. Let me